Hi guys, and welcome to this session. What we're going to be talking about today is all the type of kit that you would need to go for a paddle. And we're starting off at entry level, so we're going to start off with the very basics, and what I thought I'd do is just talk through what I would do in the way of prepping my kit and clothing to go for a paddle. We're just coming into spring, still very cold, okay? So if I'm going for a paddle, I need some fairly good kit because the water is cold and generally the weather is not too brilliant, okay? So if you're just trying the sport and you're not wanting to spend lots of money, there's nothing wrong with starting off with a wetsuit, yeah, okay? The only thing with your wetsuit that you bought because you like to go surfing is that even though modern wetsuits are exceptionally flexible these days, they're going to be 3, 4, 5 mil thick in places, and they are going to possibly pinch a bit under the arms, or maybe even just be a little bit uncomfortable sat in a kayak rather than standing up on a surfboard. Okay, so the options are full wetsuit. Okay, now another option might be full legs, short arms. Okay, as you're talking about the beginning and the end of the season, yeah, you're probably going to be wading, get your legs wet, but it won't matter with a gold cag that you maybe have less protection on your arms. Okay, and as the season progresses, a good option might be a long john. Again, thinner neoprene, protection for your legs, lots of flexibility and manoeuvrability around your arms. And what you could do with that is wear a rashi or some kind of protection from the UV, just to keep you a little bit warm. And as the season really kicks off in the summer, and you're probably going to fall into cool off, you might go for a full-on shorty, short legs, short arms. Okay, so that's what you could do. You might very well have that at home, and so therefore you may not have to spend any money. Okay, as we're talking about coming out of winter at the moment, we need some protection. If we get wet and there's wind, we'll then get cold, so we need to keep that water off of us. So a good option is a cag. Okay, all right. The great thing about the cag is it has a nice tight seal around the neck, and it has a nice tight seal around the wrists. Most of them have a kind of a collar that just protects these latex seals. Okay, now fundamentally, one of the most important things, if you buy a very cheap cag, it will just be one straight piece of material. What you want to look for, because there's lots of opportunities to pick up on second-hand sites kit, people retiring, growing out of their stuff, is make sure you've got a tube. Okay, so the idea is when you put your cag on, you pull that down, you pull your spray deck up, then you'll pull your cag back down over the top, adjust it at the sides, and you have a lovely overlap, a considerable overlap of a good 8 to 10 inches, making it much harder for the water to get up and over. Okay, so that's probably more traditional white water one. We're really talking about sea kayaking today, and if you're doing more day trips, expeditions, multi-days, you might want to consider something that is a little bit more like a storm jacket. So a few pockets for storing stuff, really comfortable, nice overlap either to keep the weather out or to let some steam out there. Okay, nice, really good seals, and again, good overlap and lots of adjustment. Now it is possible, if you do it right, that you can attach that to dry trousers and have a relatively good seal between the two. Not 100%. So as we move into the summer, and that's becoming a bit over the top, you might just want to have a shorty cag. Okay, so yes, it's got seals around the arms and the neck, and it's got a nice overlap, but basically it's just keeping your core a bit drier. All right, so that's the sort of stuff you'd wear in the summer. So This time of year, I'm paddling dry suit. Now this is a specific dry suit for sea kayaking. Just got a few features, storage pocket. In truth, it's not a lot of good once you've got your BA on. Bit of a hand warmer, a few pockets for a few bits and pieces. Just a very, very durable, good suit. And as this one is specific for sea kayaking, it's got a built-in hood, bit of reflection, really keeps the weather out if it's really bad. Okay. Now one of the things about these suits is you can't just walk around over a gravelly car park and just expect them to stay watertight. You do have to, you've invested a lot of money in them, you do have to look after them. Okay. And these socks, the socks and the neck and the wrist seals are probably the weakest points. If you don't maintain them, either by regularly lubricating them with the appropriate, lots of products on the market keep them supple rather than drying out and potentially cracking. But with regard to these socks, you know, it's always a good idea to have an old car mat. Stand on that when you're getting changed rather than on something sharp on the car park grip. Because if you pierce, some dry suits are rubber or latex socks, so they're probably even more fragile. Okay. Now, depending on what your local beach breaks are like, we have a couple local to us, Heel Bay, Combe Martin, great venues. Excuse me, great venues, but the gravel is very, very shaly. Okay. What I always do is I just put an additional pair of these on, because it doesn't matter how much you try, it gets in between your boots and then it's quite abrasive. Okay. And also in the winter, it's an extra bit of protection. Your feet are always going to get wet because you're going to wade into the water to launch. Okay. So lots of options. Base. But next to my skin I've got a wetsuit. If I'm going to wear a dry suit or cag and dry trousers, something like that, that might keep the wind out, it might keep the rain off, but unless I've got something creating some warmth, I'm going to get cold. Okay, so most people under a dry suit wear a onesie / teddy bear type thing. Alright, really good. Obviously without that there's no heat being generated, so that's a really, really good option. If it's exceptionally cold, I might wear some long johns underneath, or even a thermal top. Okay. Other options might be something like these reed base layers that are excellent because they're designed to wick. So if you do sweat or you get a little bit wet, it repels the moisture from your body. Okay. So by doing that, your skin's not going to get cold, so it's helping to keep you warm. Various styles, you can get it in a one piece, you can get a roll neck, or you could get a zip, if you know. Fantastic. Okay. But as with everything, it all has to fit you. Okay. So just a little recap on wetsuits. The wetsuit works because it traps a thin layer of water between your body and the rubber, which you then warm up with your body heat. Okay, if that wetsuit is really poorly fitting, and we've all seen people on holiday walk into the beach in their Banana Republic suits, where I could get a whole hand up the trouser leg. Okay, where it's so big, it's so baggy, or great big baggy areas here on the back or here. Now, the moment you go in the water, lots of water is going to get squirt down there. You are going to get exceptionally cold. Granted, it will still give you protection from the sun, but it is not going to keep you warm. Okay, so it has to be fit. And that's a fantastic thing about modern wetsuits. They're so flexible. You can get them quite tight and stretchy, and it doesn't feel like it's restricting. Okay, so make sure your wetsuit is fitting you right. And same with your cags and dry suits. Make sure you've got really good manoeuvrability around the arms and the shoulders. Okay, so we've got some warm underlayers, we've got dry suit, we've got a cag, we've got dry trousers. So what else do we need? Okay, one of the most important things is foot protection. Okay, I've seen more accidents on the side of a river or walking down over a pebbly beach to the sea's edge where people have slipped on green slimy rocks. Okay, So it's really important to have some sturdy footwear. Okay, there's shoe style or there's boots. I prefer these. But the main thing is got an excellent grippy. These are Vibram, but basically a grippy sole. Okay, I find they give me quite a lot of support in my ankles, but equally these are fantastic as well. Okay, and if you don't want to run to them, first pair I bought was a pair of baseball boots from TK Maxx for about 10 quid. You know, so it doesn't matter, as long as the sole is good, so you're not going to be slipping around, that's really fine. Okay, so what else do we need? Well, in the order that we would put it on, we will probably put our spray deck on. Okay, our spray deck, spray skirt, is designed to go around the cockpit to make sure that the water doesn't come in. And as you advance, it basically means that you can start doing support strokes and even learning to roll. In most cases, probably made of neoprene, very hard wearing. There are other options like these Reed ones that are made from Aquafirm, nice and light. The only thing I would say is they predominantly all seem to be black, and they can get a little bit warm in the summer. I know Reed Chill Cheetah now make a variety of colours, so they might give you the option of something that's a little warmer. These are great, but I would suggest if you're doing lots of training, lots of rescues, something that like neoprene would be slightly more durable. These are great when you're on your own and you've got a high skill level. Okay, they're superb. But to start off with, or if you're doing leadership or coaching training and you're learning to do lots of rescues, you'll be dragging boats up and down on your deck. These have a vulcanized rubber all the way around, and also a little bit of a flap to assist with the seal. Okay, so it's a good idea to make a regular check on it, that the tab that you're going to remove it with is nice and secure, and again, it has to fit. So not only does it have to fit the boat, so you might, if you affluent enough to have a range of kayaks, you're going to have to possibly have different ones to different boats, but the body tube's got to fit. It's no good having it so baggy that there's a great big gap there, because all the water's going to go in there, it's going to fill the boat with water, and you're probably going to get cold. Okay, alright, so before we start putting that on and going for a paddle, we obviously need to, ideally in a controlled environment like a swimming pool, do a capsize drill. And we always recommend start off with just a capsize drill, then progress to doing it with a spray deck, and then what I like to see people do is do it with their hands behind their backs. So you can find the release tab and then remove it. And a good little tip, people sometimes panic, they grab it and they yank it. Because it's elastic, it needs to stretch. So if you push away first and then, it will come off a treat. Alright, okay. So I've got my waterproof gear on, I've got my spray deck. I then need to